Hello students, so Prelims 2024 is coming and around 100 days are left as of now, and you must be doing your preparation. So we are here with another video to help you strengthen your preparation. We have already seen in the previous video about the conceptual clarity and how important conceptual clarity of different subject is for your preparation, whether it be geography or polity or history. Everything, we never know from which section or from which subject UPSC may start asking more questions. So in one year they may ask more questions from history, another year from polity, several years they may ask from environment and science and tech, and then all of a sudden they may change to another subject. So it becomes paramount to understand the concepts, to go deeper into the subjects, and for that we have made the video to understand how drilling down in the subject helps, how to drill down in the subject by using the test papers, then how can you predict the question papers of UPSC by looking into the pattern on which UPSC has been asking questions from several years. Then we have also discussed few other techniques to help you strengthen your preparation. For now, along with this conceptual clarity, we have another thing, two more important things to look in order to strengthen the preparation for upcoming prelims examination, and that is current affair. So for clearing the UPSC prelims with flying colors, and when I say flying colors, I mean whatever the cutoff may be, you should always aim to gain at least 10 marks above the cutoff. If you are gaining 10 marks above the cutoff, you are in a very safe zone. And what it provides you? Mental peace. You do not indulge in unnecessary discussions about what will be the cutoff. That eats up your time. That hampers your mains preparation. So always aim 10 marks above the cutoff. Nowadays the cutoff has came down to about 98, 99 and 100 marks. So somewhere around 110. This is something everybody should aim for. And one of the way to do it is to have great conceptual clarity over the basics or the static part as it is called. What is this static part? The 6 subjects which we have discussed in the previous video: geography, polity, economy, etc. So the concepts of these videos has to be very clear. The second thing which becomes very important in getting these number is the current affair. Now the current affair is a tricky thing. UPSC does not ask very complicated questions from current affairs. If you see over a period of time, over years, what they have asked is the current affair has been asked from a wide variety of subjects. The coverage of current affair is very wide. That makes it more tough, because in order to study so much of current affair from different topics becomes very tough for an aspirant, because there is a paucity of time, there is lot much of pressure to revise and do everything. Along with it, if you have to read current affairs, that too from a very wide range, it becomes problematic. So we'll look into several tricks, I won't call them tricks, in order to solve this problem of current affairs. Then the third thing which becomes very important to clear this exam and to get to these numbers and above it is the test practice. And there are several patterns which people use while giving the tests. We will discuss those patterns. Those are natural patterns which people follow. Then what this test practice will get you. So coming to current affairs, out of my experience, I am telling you, it has been my experience of failures, of successes, talking to many teachers, many seniors, and also to candidates who have cleared the examination. One thing becomes of paramount importance is the newspaper. Now you must be thinking there is only 3 months time left and picking up the newspaper and then making notes out of it. It's a heavy job. But let me tell you this thing. If you pick up the newspaper, the beauty of newspaper is the moment you start to read it, 1 month is gone, second month is gone, and you are aware of the current affair of our last 1 or 2 years. That's the beauty of the newspaper, because everything gets repeated. The news or the issues which are covered in the newspaper, of course they are happening today, but it has some previous connections. And when newspaper writes it, they write it in such a way that the whole 1 year or 2 year or even sometimes a decade current affair is cleared. Let's take an example of an editorial. If something happens today, the editor is going to give references to things which have happened in the previous years. This is how the newspaper helps you to build a covering of knowledge which helps you to go through this current affair preparation in a better way. Now, I will not suggest that you sit down with the newspaper and make notes out of it for 4 hours. Some people do it because they need 4 hours to study the newspaper and then make notes out of it. That's good, but that happens when your prelims is 12 months away. Now, since it is 3 months away, I would recommend you to go on, read your current affairs from whichever source you are reading, and keep applying the methods which we have already discussed in this the previous video on how to go deeper into subject. Same applies to current affair also, but at the same time, do not skip the newspaper. Within 1 month of reading the newspaper, if you start from today, within 1 month you will see the beauty that all the current affair which you have read is automatically getting consolidated. You will start to see that, because there are too many things. And don't burden yourself with writing notes and filling up copies, newspaper being another source, because you are already reading 2 sources, and then one magazine or some current affair from some institute, and then comes the newspaper and it becomes the third one. No, do not treat newspaper as another source, but treat it as a parent source, a covering. Just like you brush your teeth in the morning, treat newspaper as a ritual which you do every day. Just try to do it for 1 month and you will see how the thing starts to get consolidated in your mind. Because when you sit in the examination hall in UPSC and you come out after giving the exam, then you start to think, okay, whatever UPSC has asked, I was aware of it, but somehow I was unable to go to the specific answer. What is that which is lacking? Because you have read or you were aware of the subject, because maybe you have seen it on news, or maybe you have heard it from your friends, and this is when newspaper comes handy. When you are reading the newspaper, at least you have some knowledge of the subject. And UPSC does not ask the current affair of the planet Mars or of the planet Neptune. It asks the current affair of this Earth, which is covered in newspaper. There is no other better source than the newspaper. It comes at a very, very cheap rate every day to your doorstep. Every day to your doorstep at a very cheap rate. Order a newspaper, let it come to your doorstep. Sit with the tea, morning tea in the morning. Go through the newspaper. Now, how will you reduce the amount of time to invest in the newspaper? So, open the front page. Don't get emotional with the newspaper. The moment you get emotional with the newspaper that, oh, I am preparing for UPSC and newspaper has to be one of the major source, and then you get emotional and then you start to read, and you start to read it at 8 p.m. in the morning, and then it's 8 a.m. in the morning, and then it's 12 in the afternoon, and you're still reading the newspaper. So do not get emotional with newspaper. What you have to do, open the front page, go through important news, By the time you start to read, you will understand what is important from the perspective of prelims examination, not mains examination, not from the point of view of the ethics paper. Skip all those things. What can be important in mains, what can be important in ethics exam, or what can be important in essay paper. Do not use the newspaper for all those things, because time is very less. So you need to be very much focused on the prelims examination. And for prelims examination, you just have to see the front page with the point of view that what in this front page can be asked in the prelims exam. If you approach the newspaper with this thought, with this idea, you will see you will be able to finish the front page in very less time. Just read the articles given. If the continuation of those articles are on page number 2 or page number 3, go to those pages and finish them off. After the front page, directly go to the editorial page. Directly go to the editorial page. Read the editorials, both the editorials which are given. It does not matter whether those editorials are useful for your prelims paper or not. Somehow they will form some knowledge or some structure in your mind which will help you somewhere. It hardly takes 10 minutes each. I am saying maximum time 10 minutes each. 10 plus 10, 20 minutes total. 20 minutes for 2 editorials, and if you absorb them completely, nothing can be better than that. Then on the editorial page, after the 2 editorial, on the right side you will also find the articles, the bigger articles. So when you see the bigger articles, see whether they are important for prelims exam or not. And if you find, even if they are half important or 30% important, try to read them. Once you have read, that's it. Go to the third section, the world page. These are the first, second and 3 pages which you have to focus on. No sports page, leave it. Even if UPSC asks some question on sport, it will be like 1 question or 2 question, you can always leave it, or you can, most of the people are watching sport news, and somehow you can solve it or leave it. Does not matter, but main these 3. And in Hindu, there is also a science and tech page or some news related with biodiversity. You should focus on that. By reading the previous year question, you will be able to pinpoint the areas from where UPSC asks the questions in the current affair. And there is where your expertise, this is a skill. Newspaper reading is a skill, and with time you will see within 1 hour, within a matter of an hour, you will be able to complete the newspaper. Now think about it. If you invest 1 hour or 1.5 hour every day in this newspaper, and it consolidates your current affairs in such a way that you cannot imagine. Think about it. If UPSC asks 60 to 70 questions from these basic section, from all the subjects, 6 subjects, at least 20 to 30 questions are asked from current affairs. I'm saying least. This is a huge number. And even if you get half of them correct, what are you losing? Nothing. So one newspaper reading every day is going to help you so much in consolidating your current affairs that you cannot imagine. Keep reading the sources which you are reading. If you read at your home, or you go to library and you have dedicated 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever amount of time according to your plan to current affairs, which you are reading from a magazine or from particular institutes magazine, current affair magazine, keep doing that. I'm not asking you to stop it, but above that, invest 1.5 hour for newspaper. Do not become emotional. Do not read the whole newspaper. Do not get carried away. But focus. Focus is important. And what do I mean by focus? leaving all that which is not important. Reading anything which is of entertainment, reading anything which relates to ethics, reading anything which relates to essay paper, or reading anything which relates to any of the mains answer writing things would be called as distraction as of now, because very less time is left in prelims examination. The examination is too dicey, so you have to be very much focused. Keep reading the newspaper. Front page, editorial page, I already told you, never miss the editorial. 2 editorial, read every day. Article, if it is important for prelims, read it. If not, leave it. Even if it is half important for prelims, read it. And then the world, the page on which the world news is given. This is how you are going to solidify your current affair preparation, because the newspaper coverage is very wide. This is very wide, and you need wide range of current affairs to clear this examination. So do not miss on newspaper. And again, I am repeating, if you study 1 month or 2 months of newspaper, the current affair of the whole year or even 2 years gets revised. I hope this is not the first time you are reading the current affairs. You must have read it in the previous attempt, or maybe before you have given the attempt. Once you start to read it, you will start to see, oh, this news was there, I've read, somewhere it sticks in my mind, somewhere I've read it. So it is going to help you to consolidate and solidify, and again to revise everything which you have read in the previous days or previous months. Then comes the test practice. Test practice is of paramount importance. If you see, there's, let's say, India-Australia cricket match, or India-Pakistan cricket match. Before that, months and months of match practice and net practice is something which is in which the players invest their time. So what you see on the final day of the match is the result of how they have practiced over a period of 2 months or 3 months, based on the fitness level they have, based on the techniques they are trying to develop. The similar way is there for getting 110 marks in the UPSC prelims examination. The test papers and its preparation is of paramount importance. So you have to start writing the test. What does this test paper practice gives you? One, it gives you the confidence. What kind of confidence does it give you? I have seen students, and I have seen that they are unable to mark any of the 4 options given to a question. They will be so confused, even when they have the gut feeling that A is the option. They cannot make the move and tick A, because somewhere they have the fear that what if A is not the answer. So it doesn't matter. You see, you have 100 questions at your disposal, and even if 10 or 15 are wrong, let them be. But you should have the confidence to mark the questions. I have also seen several students who go to the exam and come out marking only 50 or 60 questions. In this manner, you will not be able to clear your prelims exam. You should be in the position to mark as many questions as you can. Given the present status of the examination, you should be able to mark as many questions as you can. And for that, you need confidence. Without the confidence to mark a question, you won't be able to attempt more questions. And it's like committing suicide in the prelims paper if you cannot mark more questions because of the lack of confidence. Lack of confidence and covering up of lack of confidence should not result in overconfidence, that you are also marking the questions whose answer you do not know. Sometimes we do not know the exact answer, but we have to make an educated guess. For example, you are putting all your mind into a question and you reach the conclusion that B is the option. And if you do not have the confidence to mark B because you fear the negative mark, you will lose out. and you will lose out on many such questions and lose out on marks. So the first thing which test paper gives you is the ability to be confident in the real examination hall to mark. Forget about it whether it's right or wrong. First thing is you have to mark, then only it can become right. So the ability to mark a question, that confidence you get from test practice. Your hand will start to mark more and more question as you solve more and more papers. Then second thing, when you give the test paper and see its discussion, count your marks, you will be able to know your standing, where do you stand, how much you lack, what you are and what you ought to become, the difference between these two, the gaps between these two. The bigger the gap, the more you need to work. That you will come to know from solving the test paper. So these are the two basic things which are required to get marks above 110 in the prelims examination. First, you should have the confidence. Second, you should have the ability to fill the gaps. And how would you know what are the gaps? Only by solving the test paper. Now, that was about the importance of solving the test paper. Now, how do you, it's also the, you should do the speed test. Now, this is important. You have 2 hours and you have 100 questions to solve. How will you do it? Several people, what do they do is, they read the whole paper in 1 hour, marking any question they know, and then 1 hour after reading after completing to read the first 1 hour, the whole paper has been read, and then go on reading those questions which they do not know or which they do not understand or which were too tough, and then they try to solve it. This is one set of student who solve the question paper like this. The second set of student, what do they do? After they complete their first reading, 2 hours are finished. I am not saying this is a bad strategy. This is also another set of strategy because they cannot read the question paper speedily. So they go over every question thinking whether the option A is correct or B or C or D is correct, and they take time while solving the question. That simply means that when they are crossing the 1 hour limit in the question paper in the examination hall, they are somewhere around 50 question mark or on 51st or 52nd or maybe around 45 to 50, somewhere down there. So that's another thing. The third thing which happens is several people divide the whole question paper into 4 parts. How will they do it? 25 question, 25 question, 25 and 25, and they will try to solve each of these 25 questions within half hour. So that simply means that they are dividing it in such a way, they are just making smaller parts of a bigger chunk, 25, 25, 25 and 25. I think this strategy really works very well for few students, that instead of treating the whole prelims paper as a big chunk of 100 questions, they divide it into 25, 25, 25. So first question, from question first to question 25, then from question 25 to question 30, and they will look that I have to solve 25 question within the time limit of 30 minutes. 30 minutes, not more. And if they take anything more than 30 minutes, they try to cope up in the next section of 25 question. That if, let's say, first 25 questions were solved in 35 minutes. Now the next set of 25 questions will not be solved in 35 minutes, but they will try to solve it in 25 minutes. You will have a great track of time in this way, and the chances of question being left out because of the paucity of time will reduce. So you can apply whichever method which suits you. Either you can go on reading the whole question paper within 1 hour and then going back and solving those ones which you do not know. Second thing, you take the whole question paper in a chunk of 100 question, try to give time to each question, and by the time you have finished your 100 question, you have finished the 2 hours also. Or the third thing is, you can divide the whole question paper into 4 groups of 25 questions each, and 30 minutes is the time allotted to solve one section. 25 question in 30 minutes, 25 question in 30 minutes, then third and then the fourth section, and this is how you will exhaust your 2 hours solving all your 100 questions. The idea is to not leave any question unread because of the paucity of time. This must not happen. Every question contains 2 marks, and you know, even in marks in points, you know, you can be either in or out of the list for mains examination. So some or the other scheme you have to accept in order to have make the whole coverage of the question paper. Now another thing which we should discuss in the test paper practice is the filling of the OMR sheet. So there are several students who fill the OMR sheet simultaneously. That means they will solve question number 1, and if the option is A, they will mark option A. Question number 2, option is B, they will mark question number B. The second set of students are the one who will go through the question paper, let's say half of the question paper or the initial 20 or 30 or 40 questions, and they will fill the OMR sheet in bulk. It has happened several times while the student are filling the OMR sheet in bulk, they were unable to fill it because of the paucity of the time. So think of a situation where you have solved all the 100 questions, but you had no time to mark them, and you could only mark 80 questions and 20. Even when you know the answers were left out. So no such situations should emerge. That is why it is very important for you to sit down and practice these tests and practice the filling up of the OMR sheet. These 3 things, the conceptual clarity in the basics, wide range of coverage of current affairs using the newspapers and whichever sources you are reading for the current affairs, and the test practice is of paramount importance to get to the 110 marks, which is almost 10 marks above the cutoff. This is how you are going to cover your whole syllabus. This is how you are going to pass the prelims exam, which is very dicey, in a very easy way. So the way is easy, but when you start to walk on that way, the path is tough. And through hard work, you can definitely reach your goal. Thank you very much for listening.